Just recently in escrow on a property, I was representing the buyer and the escrow actually fell through. But let me tell you why. So I was representing the buyer. It was a property that had 3 lots next to each other the 2 were vacant lots, and then there was actually a single family home on the middle lot, which is the one that was for sale. It was a single family home that they converted into a duplex. The buyer was actually an investor and they thought this was a great property because they could actually build. We went to the city, called the city to find out what you could build on that lot, and you could actually build up to 4 units on that property. So this could be a great investment for a rental property. So that's why we put in an offer, we got it accepted, and we were moving forward. Time out, we found out that when we got the disclosures from the seller, they did not disclose that the brand new fence that they just put up around the perimeter of the lot was actually not land lot surveyed, which means you got to find out what the property lines are. And because there's 2 vacant lots on either side of the property, there's no way to find out whether or not that fence in the right areas. And found out from the city as well that they did not get signed off on the permits that the fence was done correctly. And they also, since they did put 2 kitchens, because it was a duplex now, they put 2 kitchens into the property, so they had to get that signed off as well. So there were a lot of red flags, and my biggest red flag was the buyer was still wanting to move forward, even though I was saying, you know, what's gonna happen is if either property owners on either side of the house want to ever develop and you find out that your fence, your beautiful fence, is not on the property line, then it's gonna cost you a ton of money to actually tear that down and rebuild. You're gonna have to get a land lot survey as well. So let's try and figure this out now. We ended up canceling because the biggest issue that happened was that they did not disclose a lot of this information, like any of it. And they tried to say that they were excluded from disclosing that information because they never lived in the property. On a side note, because of my experience in being an investor myself, that is bullshit. Okay, you have like saying that you're excluded just because you haven't lived in the property. That's not true at all. Okay, and this was actually another realtor. This is why I'm like trying to even tell this story, because I know that a lot of people, 1, are not looking out for their client's best interest, but 2, they just don't even know the rules. You're not excluded. The seller's not excluded from giving those disclosures out because they did make improvements to the property. They do need to disclose that, and it is the buyer's right to actually know what was done to the property. Because they weren't so truthful and it was just a little touch and go the entire transaction, I advised my client to actually cancel escrow, which you do have that opportunity to do so if your contingencies are not removed yet. But at the end of the day, some agents just want to get commission checks. Some people want to not be truthful. Neither one of those are me. I want to do what's best for my clients. I don't want them to have that headache down the road and then having to, like, maybe even if they built those other 3 units on that lot and then find out that they're not on their property line and they have to tear it down. I mean, can you imagine how expensive that would be? So work with an agent who's working for you, and that's all that matters, and especially if they're knowledgeable. That's my story. If you like this content, you learned something here in this story, let me know, comment, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Give me all the love. I need the love. Thanks. Bye.